each and every one of us, especially to our site teacher, Sir Roldan Ardines. And guys, this is Hype Nation, or in real life also known as Kurt King Geopoto. And I'm a member of Group 4, and these are my group members. In this video, we're talking about the individual versus social identity online. And now, our main objectives of this presentation is to determine what is individual and social identity online. Know the difference between personal and social identity online, and I'm going to include the difference between personal identity online and the personal identity in real life. Know the importance of the two identities in understanding the self, and lastly, and to learn in improving your personality mostly through online. Personal identity online, or the internet identity, it is also known as online identity or internet persona. It is a social identity that an internet user establishes in online communities and websites. It can also be considered as an actively constructed presentation of oneself. And in our personal identity online, most people tend to represent their positive sides than their negative sides, which is different from the personal identity in real life. Like me, I represent myself as what I am, both positive and negative sides. And although some people choose to use their real names online, some internet users prefer to be anonymous, which reveal varying amounts of personally identifiable information. An online identity may even be determined by a user's relationship to a certain social group they are a part of online. Some can even be deceptive about their identity because it doesn't mean what we portray or see online profiles are true. An example of this online identity is the massively multiplayer online role-playing games, or MMORPGs. Users like me in this game, we represent ourselves visually by choosing an avatar. Avatar is an iconized graphic image. Avatars are one way users express their online identity. Through interaction with other users, an established online identity acquires a reputation, which enables other users to decide whether the identity is worthy of trust. Online identities are associated with users through authentication, which typically requires registration and logging in. Some websites also use the user's IP address or tracking cookies to identify the users. And examples of this internet identity are, the first example is the social media profiles. The most common social media profiles nowadays are Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and etc. In this online identity, we just need to sign up and fill up the necessary informations for us to log in and socialize and interact with other people. You can also communicate with them online, and send emotions to them, make them how you feel. And in addition, you get to decide if you put the correct informations about yourself or the fake information. And for that reason, I currently do not trust other people online, or most people online, because of the fake users with fake photos and fake names with fake accounts. And the second example is the online games. The most common online game that I know is the Dota 2. We get to choose our own hero and play with other people. And also the MMORPG games like Mir 4. We get to choose our avatar and put our IGN, or the in-game names, for us to play with other people, and we can socialize with them, make friends with them, talk with them, or even make enemies with them. The last example is shopping carts. Shopping carts are commonly used because of the new normal. Because of this pandemic, people cannot go shopping on malls or in public places because we need to have social distancing and stores in the areas are closed. In this online identity, we just need to put our personal informations like our names, our birth date, our phone numbers, our email address, and our social media accounts. And also in shopping carts, we can also pay online, which will be a great way to have a easier transaction with the supplier. That's all.
So my topic is about importance of online identity. Uh, it provides platforms for people to express their feelings and show different sides, their pers- personalities. It helps people to understand you more holistically. It helps to shape people's interpersonal perception. Social media is a term for numerous technologies that allow in instantaneous communication, status updates, and social networking. Mm, Among individuals, so as online users, I can say that some of the advantages that we can get in giving our personal identity online is that it is more easy to stay in touch with friends, family, and work remotely even if you are another part of the world. You can communicate by words, videos, audio, and exchange other media. You can also express yourself, your opinion much better, and you you can get lots of information. Just make sure it's legit, but of course social media has its fair share of advantages and disadvantages. There are also many risks associated with having a vivid life on social media. Most of all, in today's world, what you portray on social media can affect you tremendously. One of the disadvantages of having personal identity online is how we do not have control over our own information, and sometimes it could result to hacking. Personal data and privacy can easily be hacked and shared on the internet, which can make financial losses and loss to personal life. Similarly, identity theft, it's another issue that can give financial losses to anyone by hacking their personal accounts. So to avoid that, we gotta make sure first what we post and upload on our social media about our personal identity is limited, and we should not abuse it.
Good day, everyone. My assigned topic is all about the social identity online. The social identity is the internet identity or IDD. Also, online identity or interpersonal is a social identity that an internet user establish and online communities and a website. It can also be considered as an actively constructed representation of oneself. Although Some people choose to choose to use their real names online. Some internet users prefer to anonymous, identifying themselves by means of pseudonyms, which reveal varying amount of personally identifiable information. An online identity may even be determined by a user's relationship to a certain social group they are the part of online. Some can even deceptive about their identity. The social web, the usage of the web to support the process, represent a space in which people have the possibility to express and expose the identity. In a social context, for example, Filipino, they're identified by creating user profiles and a social network service such as a Facebook, Link, or Twitter, and etc. An online dating service by expressing opinion on blogs and other social media. They define more decent identities. The importance of social online identity is though managing online identities is important because it provides platforms for people to express their feelings and show different sides of their personalities. It helps people to understand you more holistically. It helps to shape people interpersonal perception. They have five types of online identities. First is the open identity, means that one will share authentic and genuine thought to the world. There is no specific platform on will use. Rather, their identity will be shared throughout all platforms. This viable means for some people and culture who values security. However, privacy and anonymity are violated, which can allow for the infringement of one's own security as well. And the second is the avoidance. Avoidance identities involves the restraint of all online activities and the social media platform. Truth, these people believe that they cannot be reached, which is true. However, the downside involved not repaying the benefits from the social media and the online news. This strategy is not a viable means to a marketing one's professional career, even though the avoidance identity sound like good strategy on paper. This not benefit one's reputation from an online career or the personal perspective. And the third is the audience. Audience identity is the most common identity used throughout the internet. One will use different social media platform for different purpose. For example, one will is the use of Facebook to update our family news and upload photos and provide status. Link will be used to authorize one's professional career, where he or she work and what kind of the professional experience or education they have. The audience identity is not good strategy as the adversary then has two different avenues to collect information on one's life. The fourth identity is the content identity. Considered carefully, craft content directed towards all social media platform. One will have to be careful about what they post, becoming not a genuine as they could or should be. If one breaks the character they establish, an intended consequence could come to fruition from the public viewpoint. And the last and the fifth, compartmentalization. Compartmentalization identity use two or more different identities on different social media platform. For examples, John Jew will set up on the Facebook, and the Grant Collins will be on LinkedIn, and Jack Smith will be set up on the Reddit. In this way, anonymity is established throughout different types of platform. My conclusion is in these topics the different online identities allow the prioritization of security, privacy, and the anonymity. Is the key question posed in the beginning. What will you want to see about yourself in 20 plus years? That's all. Thank you. The virtual identity. Virtual identity is the communities across the internet are redefining identity. Aliases are not longer limited to criminals and spaces. Manufactured or manipulated virtual identities combined with anonymous service and networks provide fertile ground in which a variety of traits can grow. Criminals use the system of the secure channels for anonymous communication, finance, and the black market with worldwide connectivity. Virtual identity is the manifestation of one self in the digital world of e-commerce, email, social networking, and the virtual worlds. Identity in our digital age is no longer tied or static. The physical anchors, such as driver license or passport, or to be nebulous entities such as for interpersonal interaction, gender, nationality, names, and the appearance are all flexible, portable, and increasingly have the ability to transcend the origin and moves to other social network or the virtual worlds and even other web page. Buzz Allen help you be ready for what next. Buzz Allen Hamilton, a leading strategy and technology consulting firm where we have a deep understanding of our clients' mission and years of experience solving our clients' problem than the public or private sectors. And throughout identity management support of the Department of the Defense and the Intelligence Committee, civil agency, and corporation, we have led the integration of identity policies. IT-related identities management and operational identities to meet challenge that largely did not exist in 15 years ago. Total identity examples include the first is your email account, or email address. First, the free and the anonymous email accounts are ubiquitous and allow the projection of whatever identity or pseudonym a user creates. The second is your name, your first name and your last name. An avatar in a second life or another virtual worlds might have like its own web page or project its identity through Twitter or other connected service. And the third is the financial service. Financial service, PayPal, Casio, and the hundreds of other internet payment systems over the varying degree of anonymity of traceability. Therefore, common to us is through Gcash. Login and the fourth one is the login password and certificates. Websites and other resource drive access through this control mechanism which be tied to a user through identity. And these examples exhibited the range of the traits and the opportunities from recreation and the convenience of e-commerce to identify the thief. Hacking and the money laundering, understanding and the managing this new landscape while increasingly but crucial to the success and safety of individuals and the organization in the new millennium. That's all. Thank you.
Good day, sir. I'm Kian Bajang and I'm here to discuss about the social identity. An individual's social identity indicates who they are in terms of the groups to which they belong. Social identity groups are usually defined by some physical, social, and mental characteristics of individuals. Examples of social identities are race or ethnicity, gender, social class or socioeconomic status, sexual orientation, disabilities or abilities, and religion or religious belief. Social identity refers to the ways that people's self-concepts are based on their membership in social groups. Examples include sports team. So, examples of our sports team like Los Angeles Lakers. And religions, example is Roman Catholic. Nationalities, example Filipino. Occupations, example nurse or teacher or doctor. Sexual orientation, example is heterosexual or homosexual. Ethnic groups, example is Eta group. And gender, example male or female. So the next slide is all about the social identity theory. So first, how do you identify yourself? More specifically, what groups would you say that you belong to? I'm not just talking about Facebook or Discord groups. I'm talking about the groups that you interact every day. The groups that you feel that you belong to. You may identify as a student of University of Cebu. We may identify as a member of your immediate family or maybe even as a Catholic. For every group that you belong to, there's an opposing group. There's another group out there. These are people that don't identify. In the same way you might call them the others. The students who go to other colleges, who comes from other families or practice other religion. This group, and importantly, the conflicts between them have shaped human history. For example, fighting over land in the name of religion has created many countries' borders and policies that we abide by today. Conflicts between different racial, ethnic, or religious groups still dominate our headlines and affect the lives of people all around the world. So along with that, why are we so loyal to the groups that we belong, and why does identification with one group inevitably cause conflict with another group? Finding the answer to both of these questions has become a lifelong work for many social psychologists, and one of these British psychologists is Henry Tadgfield. In the late 1970s, Tadgfield and his team conducted a series of studies that would lead to the creation of something called the social identity theory. Social identity theory addresses the ways that social identities affects people's attitudes and behaviors regarding their in-group and out-group. Social identities are most influential when individuals consider membership in a particular group to be central to their self-concept, and they feel strong emotional ties to the group. There are 3 stages of the social identity theory. These are the categorization, identification, and comparison. So the first is categorization. You cannot belong to a group unless you know that the group exists, and we do this through observation of the world around us. It happens all the time, usually without you even thinking about it. It doesn't take long to see that people are divided into different groups. All it takes is you can just walk into a school canteen or you can listen to the news. Groups are labeled by their religion, their nationality, physical abilities, so on and so forth. They categorize things that set apart, and a lot of people, how you do this categorization is based on how you were raised and where you grew up. So the second is the identification. Once you start to categorize the world into different groups, it's time to look at yourself. How do you identify yourself? You can identify yourself as a man, a woman, or a non-binary person. You can identify a Catholic or a Muslim. You can identify as straight, lesbian, or pansexual. Understanding your identity and what you want to be and what you want to be does more than just continue to simplify how you look at the world and the different groups within it. It can also give you a sense of belonging, which is very powerful. So after categorization and then identifications comes the third, which is comparison. So why do we get this type of validation from making our identities more obvious? It's because the last stage of the social identity theory is comparison. And this is where the us versus them mentality starts to come into play. One of Henry Tadgfield's experiments regarding the social identity theory asked the participants to compare and assess people in different groups, and these participants were given a group to identify with. Throughout the experiment, Tadgell teams asked participants to give points to other participants, and even though the groups were random, they weren't really categorized by any meaningful manner. Participants were more likely to give points to people in their group, and this is a clear reflection of how we compare ourselves and the people in our group to outsiders. And that is the three stages of social theory. So the next slide is all about the shared social constructs. So first we need to know what is the meaning of social construct. So a social construct is something that exists not in objective reality but as a result of human interaction. It exists because humans agree that it exists. So for example, the idea that pink is for girls and the blue is for boys is an example of a social construct related to gender and the color of items. So as you can see in the slide, there are 8 shared social constructs that exist. These are the race, age, sexual orientation, immigration status, gender, ability, religion, and class.
So, the effects of social identity on children. There is positive and negative effects of social identity on children. So, mauni siya ang positive effects, then negative effects. So first, on positive effects, there are shapes self-image and provides a sense of belonging and faster caring for others. So next is negative effects. So first is requires confirmation by others. Second, difficult for shy kids. And last, potential for depression. So the next slide is the online distribution effect. It is known that people would say and do things on the internet that they would not say or do in the face-to-face world. They express themselves more openly and loosen up. This is a disinhibition effect. So, tendency nga ang mga tao, they feel comfortable and open to communicate through the internet. Mas maka-communicate o tarong through screen ra. Parehas sanay uban students nga sabaan kayo sa GC nga maka-communicate well but sa personal dili kayo. So the last slide of my topic is here is toxic disinhibition. People explore the dark underworld of the internet, places of pornography and violence, places they would never visit in the real world. On the beginning side, the disinhibition indicates an attempt to understand and explore oneself, to find new ways of being, or it is a blind catharsis and acting out of unsober needs and wishes without any personal growth at all. So mao ni siya nga this is two types of online disinhibition: the rude language, hearts, anger, hatred, and threats are the example of toxic disinhibition. The beginning disinhibition is when we make ourselves a kind of person to our internet friends. We socialize with them online. That's all on my part. Thank you.
Advantages in social identity online. It may develop to explain how individuals create and define their place in society. So, social identification reflects the notion that people generally do not perceive social situations as detached observers. So instead, their own sense of who they are and how they relate to others is typically implicated in the way they view their individuals and groups around them. So, social identity can define as an individual's knowledge of belonging to certain social groups. And the disadvantage is that social identity decreases people's approach motivation towards other people. So it occurs when the perceived competence that is the evaluated represents instances in which individuals feel the collectiveness to which they belong. So have been evaluated the social identity suggests that individual self-concept is shaped through group identification and positive social identities, and established by favorably comparing the individuals in a group against or outgroup. When unfavorable intergroup comparisons occur, individuals perceive a negative social identity.
Develop opinions on important issues. From your readings, begin to form your own opinions about the current events of today. You might find that others will be debating the issue around you soon. So, you'll want to have something to say. Make sure you express yourself with a grace and rationality. So, begin to build your own thoughts about current events based on your readings. You never know when others will be arguing the topic around you. So, you want to have something to say. Make sure you express yourself with grace and rationality. Second, be a good listener. When others are speaking, listen to understand them. Don't wait until they're finished so you can respond, but truly focus on what they're saying. Try to repeat back what they've said to you every few minutes so you can show that you hear them. So, listen to what people are saying so you can understand them. Don't wait till they finish to react. Instead, pay attention to what they're saying. Every few minutes, try to repeat back what they've said to you to demonstrate that you've heard them. Third, put your phone down. To make deeper connection with others and improve your personality, unplug from time to time. You'll be much more will receive if you're engaged with those around you as opposed to scrolling down your timeline or like pics. So, unplug from time to time to strengthen your personality and build better connections with others instead of browsing through your page or like photos. Being engaged with those around you will be much more highly welcome.